The Trump administration is using a big tech company to create a database of personal information on American citizens. If they are successful, this could lead to a large-scale infringement of our right to privacy. The company that they're using for this is called Palantir Technologies. In this video, I'll be giving a brief history of Palantir Technologies, its ties with the US government, and why this matters a lot for us today. I'll start with the beginnings of Palantir. So it all starts with a man named Peter Thiel. And Peter Thiel created Palantir Technologies in 2003 as a software for data collection and analytics. So basically, it collects data, and if someone has a lot of data, you can put it into a software that makes it easily accessible. Peter Thiel was also the co-founder of PayPal, so he's already a very big businessman. Anyways, then in 2004, he hires Alex Karp as the CEO, and the company was officially founded by Peter Thiel, Alex Karp, Stephen Cohen, and Joe Lonsdale in 2004. Here's a picture of all these guys so you know exactly what you're working with here. Anyways, the next big player within this story is none other than the CIA. Now, the CIA was one of only two investors that invested in Palantir Technologies when it was created. The only investors were Peter Thiel himself and the CIA. The CIA invests in companies of their choice through the government venture capital firm called In-Q-Tel. And interestingly enough, from 2004 to 2010, Palantir worked almost exclusively for the CIA. At the same exact time, the CIA created a program called the Total Information Awareness Program. Sounds creepy, right? It's because it is. It was a program to collect personal data on US citizens to allegedly try to find terrorists within the US. To no one's surprise, the program was defunded by Congress that same year due to concerns that the program was violating the privacy of Americans. Remember that this program was defunded for that reason, because it'll be very important later. The expansion of Palantir. Right now, as I'm recording this video, Palantir is now in the 10 most valuable tech companies in the US, according to CNBC. But how did it go from a startup company in 2003 funded by Peter Thiel and the CIA to one of the 10 most valuable tech companies in the country? Well, largely because Palantir is not a normal tech company. And it doesn't just offer its services to the average people like you and me. It works for large corporations and also large governments. So we've talked a little bit how it has been working for the US government, but the government it's been working for recently, which has been sparking a lot of controversy, is the government of Israel. Palantir has been working with Israel's IDF by giving them AI weapon targeting tools. Now, what does this mean? It's basically given them this AI technology, and with certain weapons, the AI decides what those weapons target. So just if you think about that for 1 second, that sounds very dangerous, putting deadly weapons in the hands of artificial intelligence. And it has been very deadly, and there have been innocent people that have died because of this technology. One example of this is from April 12th of 2024 was when this article was written, and 7 occupants of these food aid trucks, which were bringing food aid to Palestine during the war, were hit with some of these weapons. The Israeli government said it was simply a mistake, similar to the mistaken killing of nearly 200 other aid workers in just a matter of months. But I guess that's a whole different topic that I'm not going to get into right now. There have been several other instances of innocent people within this war and within Palestine dying due to these AI targeted weapons. I urge you to research that for yourself. I'm not going to get into all the examples right now. But it's safe to say that them using this AI tech to guide weapons is severely irresponsible at best and severely corrupt at worst. I don't see any reason why they would be using AI to target their weapons. Seems incredibly irresponsible, and it has been incredibly irresponsible as we see the consequences of that. So Palantir, definitely not a great company. Definitely not something that we should be supporting as the U.S., as they definitely don't seem like the most responsible company. And irresponsible is really an understatement for what they've done. Now, the CIA is actually not the only part of our government that has severe ties with this company. The other part is the Trump administration, through none other than J.D. Vance. Sorry for the jump scare. J.D. Vance is a Palantir pawn. Okay, maybe that's a little bit of an exaggeration, but I'm kind of kidding, not really. So to start the relationship with J.D. Vance and Palantir, we have to go back to J.D. Vance's relationship with Palantir's creator, Peter Thiel. Vance and Thiel met at a Yale lecture in 2011, which Thiel was giving this lecture, and J.D. Vance described it as the most significant moment of his life. J.D. Vance has gone on to describe Thiel as his mentor and possibly the smartest person he's ever met. Thiel actually hired Vance to his company, Mithril Capital, in 2015, and Vance continued to work for Thiel's companies until he started his own firm in 2019, which, to no one's surprise, was funded by Peter Thiel too. Peter Thiel then went on to fund J.D. Vance's almost entire political career, and what Peter Thiel didn't fund was most likely from the money that J.D. Vance made from these companies, which were funded by Peter Thiel. So basically, Peter Thiel is J.D. Vance's sugar daddy, which is a pretty dangerous relationship to have someone so high up in business, to have this much influence over our vice president, in my opinion. So this leads me to my next part, which is what is happening right now to you and what will be happening. And this is Palantir is taking your information. And this is just now, as of June 2025. The White House has contracted Palantir to compile a database of personal information on American citizens. Many hold to the view that collecting personal data on Americans is a direct violation of our Fourth Amendment right to privacy, which stops kinds of unreasonable searches and seizures. This is why the Total Information Access Program by the CIA, if you recall back to the beginning of the video, was shut down in 2003 because people said, look, this is creepy. We have a right to privacy. It's violating our rights. The government should not have access to your personal data for them to look at and use at any given time. That is the belief I stand by, and many others. But how are they doing this? Well, the CIA in 2003 saw that they couldn't do this without violating the Constitution. So essentially, to get around this, they've privatized that program so Palantir can do the same thing, but since it's a private company, it's not held accountable to the Constitution. So CIA, back in 2003, couldn't do this because they're a branch of the government, so they're held liable by the Constitution. But now, since the Trump administration and the White House has called on Palantir, which is a private company, to do this, they're not held accountable by the Constitution. So obviously there's something sketchy going on here. That's very corrupt, in my opinion. And we have to be very aware that this is happening, because it could be a severe problem if Palantir actually does do what the Trump administration and the White House wants it to do and create this database of personal information for American citizens, because obviously that's a very big problem. That's it for this video. Obviously, Don't just take my word for it. Take anything I said in this video. Go research it yourself. Let me know in the comments if there's anything I said that was false or not accurate information. I'm trying to get the most accurate and true information as possible. So with that, stay informed. Don't get brainwashed by the media. Don't do Fent. Yeah. Anyways, have a great day.